Hi Capricorn, and welcome to your April 2019 Tarology 33 reading. We have a Celtic cross spread in front of us. As always, you guys got some extra cards that came out there. Then we have two Oracle cards that we'll read after the main spread, and also a Mudra card, so there's plenty to get to. We'll start with the main situation position, where you have the Judgment card. So, the Judgment card could just point to something coming back to life that, maybe you thought was dead and gone and it comes back around for you. So it could be in any area of life, maybe a relationship that you thought that you never hear from the person again and they come back around. Could be a career path maybe that you're revisiting. Maybe, for example, you might have applied for a job a long time ago and maybe they offered the job to someone else, but then maybe that person decided not to take it at the last minute or something like that. So then they come back to you and ask you if you're still interested. There's plenty of ways that it could play out. And we'll probably get a feel for what area of life is most likely as we go along. But those are definitely some of the particular ways that this energy could be playing out for you. With it in the upright, it usually is a good thing that it's coming back around. Even if it's not a physical resurrection of the situation, but maybe even if you're just thinking about a situation from the past that might have went off track and getting some new insight on it, which is a possibility because you guys have been dealing with Mercury retrograde in your third house, which is Pisces. So maybe that could be what that's pointing to as well. It's making some pretty interesting aspects as well as it's been doing its retrograde, but maybe as the retrograde energy finishes and it starts to move forward again as we move through April, maybe you might get some clarity on something if it's not someone physically coming back around or something physically coming around. Could just be a different way of viewing it. All right, in the challenger obstacle position, we got the Eight of Swords. So to me, I would say this means that if it is something that comes back around, to me, it's probably going to catch you totally off guard, and that's what the Eight of Swords energy would represent. And, it's one of those things where you're like, well, I don't even know what to do with this, because it was so out of left field, and you never would have thought that this would have come back around. So when it does, it completely catches you off guard and has you unprepared, as far as what to do next, right? Which way to move. Do you accept it? Do you reject it? Right? That could be the energy that you're feeling. Or conversely, if it's you that's trying to get something back off the ground from the past, it might catch the other person completely off guard that you do so. That's what I'm primarily getting there. Now in the foundation position, we have the Five of Pentacles. So to me, this could definitely point to the fact that whatever ending this was, the ending itself might have been abrupt too, to where, you or the other person might have felt like they were left out in the cold. So, in a relationship sense, maybe it seemed like the person just up and vanished on you, right? And now this was the way it made you feel. Then all of a sudden they pop up out of nowhere and you're like, I don't even know what to do, like where did this come from? They might not give you an explanation as to why they disappeared or anything like that, but that's the primary vibe I'm getting there. And then if we do want to look at this as career, again, maybe there was something that you thought you were going to get as far as a job offer, and then at the last minute, maybe they were the ones who decided to renege on the agreement, but now maybe they come back around and say, actually, we would like to offer it to you with the Judgment card. So maybe that's how that's going to be playing out. This is actually a Taurus energy, so this could be pointing to the last 10 days of April too, so as far as the timeline goes. So, that could play out one way or the other, right? This could be that that's when you're revisiting that energy, or maybe that's when it gets cleared up, but we'll see as we go along how that's going to end up playing out. In the past position, we have the Two of Wands, and we have the Page of Wands, so two fire energies there. This is actually the first 10 degrees of Aries too, so this could point to maybe this happened right at the end of March, for example. I'm actually recording this in March, right before the sun goes into these degrees of Aries, but For those of you who do watch this in April, since it is an April video, it could be saying that right before the month started, you guys, were in this energy where maybe that's when this judgment situation happens, During that last week of March, someone that you wouldn't have expected comes back around, or you come back into their lives, and it just catches the person completely off guard. This could be something that you or the other person were thinking about for a while, but then they finally take that action to do so when the sun moves into Aries. That's the main vibe that I'm getting from that. And then let's see if there's anything else. And for some of you, if it goes back further, it could also be when Mars traveled through those degrees, which was right at the beginning of January, or then maybe even when Chiron went into those degrees, which would have been the beginning of March, I believe. It went back in there. So yeah, just general timeline things. But as a whole, I'm just seeing this more like, as what it represents was someone took action in the past, or at least was in the planning stage and finally decided to do so, and then maybe that's where this judgment comes into play. Either you or the other person, or the situation came back up out of the blue, caught the other person completely off guard. In the present position, we have the Magician card. So I actually see this card as the South Node card. That's just my personal thing, and that actually is where the South Node is for you right now. It's in your sign, so that could definitely have some significance there. I think it might actually be pairing up with Saturn this month as well. So, and that being your ruler, that could be a pretty karmic transit for you guys that, it'll impact everyone to an extent, but specifically for you. So that really could be, like, even if it's not something physically coming back around, it could definitely at the very least point to something that maybe had you feeling this way in the past and you just never understood, you never got closure, right? Maybe it comes back around for you to finally look at that and, get that forward progress. But another thing that this could be pointing to as well is just being in a manifesting mode, especially if this was you in that Two of Wands energy with the Page of Wands, ready to take action. So I could just be saying, all right, as April kicks off, you're feeling in your power and you're ready to make moves, right? Now, if that's the case, with the near future position, we have the Chariot in reverse. So, for those of you, if this is a relationship thing, this has me feeling almost like it might be more likely that you're the ones who are going back in trying to fix things. Because the way I say that, the reason I say that rather, is the Chariot in reverse. The Chariot is the major arcana card for Cancer. And Cancer is your opposite sign. It represents relationships and partnerships in general. So, to have this in reverse and combine that with the Judgment card, the Eight of Swords, the Five of Pentacles, that leads me to believe that obviously something went wrong with the relationship, if that's how this is going to resonate with you guys. And now you're taking action to try to fix it. It could also play out another way, but I'll get to that part when we get to the position of your influence on the situation. I do have to also mention this as well. The Chariot in reverse could also point to automobile trouble. So, again, you've had Mercury retrograde in your third house, which could definitely point to vehicles, short distance travel, you name it. So, if, you've been possibly putting off getting a repair done to your car or getting an inspection done, this might be a good time to do it. In April, because even though, Mercury will officially be out of retrograde, it'll still be in shadow for a bit, partway through April, until around the middle of the month, let's say, to be safe. But at the same time, if there is something, maybe even, there's something wrong, but you're not sure exactly what it is, this could be a good time to have it looked at again, because maybe that will, they'll find out the issue and you'll be able to get it repaired finally this time. But yeah, it doesn't even have to be anything major either. Just check your tire pressure, for example. Maybe with the weather changes, depending on where you guys live, if it's been cold and then it's hot and back and forth, that could have an impact on your tire pressure too. So it could even be something more minor like that. But with this in the reverse, like I said, something went off the rails, it appears, and now it looks like you're in the mode to actually correct that. All right. In the position of your influence on the situation, we have the Justice card and the Queen of Cups. So this was what was interesting to me. It could be playing out a couple ways. This is the Court card for Cancer, so once again pointing to your opposite sign. Combine that with Justice. This is actually a major arcana card for Libra too, so a lot of cardinal energy here. I mean, we basically have Aries represented there, Libra represented here, Cancer represented twice. So ironically, you're the only cardinal energy that hasn't blatantly come out in this spread so far with an actual, card representing Capricorn. But this could just be pointing to embracing that cardinal energy in general, right? Because even though the Aries energy doesn't necessarily always work harmoniously with yours, it's more of like a square, which is a tense connection, but it will at least bring you out and have you ready to take action, because the cardinal element is still the element that you're used to. So, or the modality, I should say. But yeah. So, but again, with the Justice card, and now we see the Cancer energy upright, whereas in the past, or not in the past, in the near future position, we see it in the reverse. This leads me to believe that you're the one who's taken action to restore balance in a situation that went wrong. Most likely a relationship, but could be anything. This could even just be a Cancer in your life that maybe has been going through some tough times and you're trying to get that turned around. I have to at least put the possibility out there for some of you, if a Cancer left you out in the cold in the past, right? And now they're trying to come back around to fix things. This could be, I have to at least put out the possibility there, that you're intentionally trying to settle the score, if you will. You're trying to restore the balance and even the scales by trying to get back at them in some way. That's probably least likely for most of you, but I did have to at least put that possibility out there. But it definitely looks like you're taking the reins in the situation, though, because, like I said, we had the Aries energy there, followed by a Magician. Here we see you with the Justice card, so it looks like you're definitely taking the action primarily here, but just figured I'd throw that out there. Alright, now in the position of the environment's influence on the situation, you have the Knight of Pentacles. So this is actually the Court card for Virgo. So for some of you, this could also be a Virgo that you're dealing with. This could also just be an offer that's been very slow coming as well. And especially, as I mentioned, with the retrograde energy, maybe that's all it was. Maybe it was a job that you applied for. You thought that maybe you weren't going to get the job, right? Because you didn't hear back from them or whatever the case may be. And after a certain amount of time, you're like, okay, well, let me move on to the next thing, right? Apparently nothing's going to come of this. You were feeling left out in the cold at the time, but, eventually you got things turned around. And then finally they do make the offer to you. And like I said, there's a multitude of reasons that could have been the case. Maybe they did offer it to someone else, and then that person didn't pan out, whatever the case may be. Or maybe there's confusion with the application. Maybe there was something more that they needed from you, and maybe they reached out, but they weren't able to get in contact with you. Again, the Mercury retrograde in the third house thing could definitely make some of that stuff happen. Communications go haywire in general for people with Mercury retrograde, but when it's in your third house, which is the house of communication, it could be even more prominent for you. So this could even just be that, an offer that you felt should have been made to you already finally comes through. And that's where maybe that energy comes from, where you're like, oh, I thought that ship had sailed already, but here they are giving me this offer all of a sudden, right? So that could be what that's pointing to there. In the hopes or fears position, you guys got a few cards here. We have the Ace of Pentacles, the Three of Wands, and the Nine of Swords in reverse. So it's an interesting combination, but what I would say is, again, this to me points to the finance angle, where, this was an offer, you've been hoping to get that offer. Maybe just with the environment position having the Knight of Pentacles, meaning the offer finally does come through, right? Because that Three of Wands could be you waiting for your ships to come in. And this also represents the middle 10 degrees of Aries. So let's say first 10 days of April, give or take, maybe that's when you actually do hear something, and then that causes an end to your anxiety regarding the situation, because the Nine of Swords can point to anxiety and fear, but with it in reverse, that would mean it would be coming to an end. So that could definitely be what's going on there. And you do have the King of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck as well, which is a pretty good energy to have. But could also be pointing to the time of Taurus too, which is around the 20th, 21st of April. So maybe that's when things finally truly get situated. They might tell you early on, yes, this is what's going on, right as the month starts. But then there might be, let's say you have to put in a 2-week notice with your other job, right? So, okay, and now that you have the job, but until the time of Taurus, you won't really be working for them. Or even just that wait for that first paycheck, right? Because now, okay, I'm starting to work for them early in April, but I won't get my first paycheck till around the time of Taurus. Something along those lines. All right, and then in the outcome position, we have the Knight of Wands and the Ten of Wands. So these two together, this is actually the court card for Sagittarius, and then this represents the last 10 degrees of Sagittarius, and Jupiter is actually in those degrees right now. So this could just be pointing to, let's say you do get the job, and like I said, I view your energy primarily as you're ready to take action. Like I said, I view this most likely as being you, the Magician most likely being you as well. So this could just be you, again, with that cardinal energy really calling you to action. There's not really going to be major squares or anything with Aries, because Aries is relatively quiet this time around. Mars passed through there earlier in the year, and Uranus is out of that sign now for good. So, really all that's going to be moving through that sign for the most part is going to be the sun in the month of April. So, there will be some squares. It'll square Saturn, and then it'll also square Pluto, which are both the near sign, but, those are basically transits that'll last a couple of days, so nothing too crazy, but, that could just be what actually makes you get up and take action, especially when it trines with Jupiter in the sign of Sagittarius too, which is your 12th house. So especially if this is something more on an emotional level too, which I said is a possibility, maybe just something that you guys have held on to for a long time because you never got closure. Maybe those aspects will actually help you, finally look at it and let it go. But on a, more mundane level, this could just be traveling as well, and also just taking on a lot at once. So, that could be with the new job, right? Okay, you finally got the job, you're back to work, but you might really throw yourself into it and feel a bit overwhelmed, as you're just getting reacquainted or adjusted to the new routine, basically, put it that way. All right. And, this could also point to this being a fire energy that you were dealing with, too. If it's the other person who took action, maybe the person who disappeared the team out of the blue and then they resurface, it could be a Sagittarius energy or an energy of someone who seems like they're in and out of your life a lot. All right, as for the Oracle cards, we have Here and Now. There's the artwork for it, and it's number 32. So I don't know if you could see, but there's 2 arrows. One says past there. The other says future, and then have the person sitting there with the "You Are Here" in the flag. Well, you just have to take my word for it. I won't focus on that. But let's take a look at the messages for this. It says, being fully present in the moment, living one day at a time. The Oracle's message, everything happens in the now, in the present. Only this moment counts. You have what it takes to handle anything today if you let go of the need to look into the future or reflect on the past. Be present and notice what is going on right now. This very moment has the potential for you to create miracles in your life. So, I mean, at least the way that makes it sound like, if that judgment moment comes up, it could throw you off course, right? Which maybe that's what that Eight of Swords is, meaning, might have you too fixated on the past or maybe the future. So I was trying to say to be present in that regard. The relationship message says it's easy to yearn for a love affair or a friendship you may not have right now, one that is more romantic, more fun, more reliable, more passionate. The good old days are gone, and a new day has dawned. Let your heart trust that you have everything you need right now, whether you have the relationship you desire or not. Tomorrow is beyond your reach. Yesterday cannot return. The now is all that is available to you. Stay present and aware that in this moment, as you cherish and approve of your beautiful self, you are a magnet for love. Spirit is madly in love with you right now. Did you know that? Turn to Spirit to feel the love of joy in the here and now. All right, so trying to see if anything else comes to mind from the main spread regarding that message, but well, maybe that could be what that's pointing to as well. Maybe saying that, as you regain your balance and maybe get in touch with your emotions, right? Maybe this is saying that emotionally you've been out of sorts lately, and now as these retrograde energies finally clear up and, those aspects that were going on with your third house clear up, maybe you just start to feel more in balance, and then that could bring an offer to you that maybe you've been waiting on for a long time, but, maybe something about your energy at the time was keeping others away. All right, the prosperity message says what you are working on is golden and your efforts will leave a powerful legacy. Focus not on meeting a goal in the far off future, but on creating your dream now, releasing your desire for an outcome and owning that it already exists. It will appear in the material world as if by magic. Claim your prosperity now. The essence is more important than the form. When you are immersed in prosperous thoughts, you automatically tune in to a sense of timelessness and unlimited potential. You can act as if, in spite of the temporary outer conditions, you are prosperous in this moment. What you think now becomes your reality. Stay present. So, that's a pretty positive message there, too. And like I said, if it was some kind of offer that was held up financially, it sounds like that would be a good sign as far as getting that cleared up this month. All right, next we'll look at the other oracle card you got from the Spirit Animal Oracle deck. You got Skunk Spirit, and it says know your worth. There's the artwork for it, and it's number 54. So let's take a look at this one next. Okay, it says, what do you value? What do you believe in? Is your best, most authentic self on display? Skunk Spirit comes as a reminder that you can be proud of who you are and what you have accomplished. Know your worth. Not everyone will agree with you or share your values, but you can walk with your head high, knowing that when you express your integrity, others can feel your authenticity and will be inspired by it. Be who you are, and if your reputation precedes you, good. You have much to be proud of, and Skunk Spirit wants you to be your best self, the true you. So, again, obviously that's a pretty awesome message to have there, regardless of your circumstances. And, maybe that is just pointing to emotionally you might have been feeling that way, right? That Five of Pentacles energy. And now, with these energies we see at play here, you're really just getting back in balance and getting back in control of the situation. And feeling in your power, even though this is technically the core card for Taurus, with you also being a earth element, this could totally represent the energy you have right now as well. All right, and then the last thing we have is a mudra card. Basically, if you guys don't know, I've been pulling mudra cards for all the signs this year, and what a mudra is it's basically a hand gesture or pose that you would make while meditating. Usually you want to hold it for at least 5 minutes. If you're more accustomed to meditating, though, you could go longer than that, half hour, 45 minutes, whatever the case may be. And the purpose of them is to help clear up blockages. So sometimes it's an actual emotional blockage it'll help clear up, sometimes even physical, depending on the different mudra. And the one that you guys got for this month is the Kaleshvara Mudra. And the keyword for this one says opportunity. So this is the actual mudra itself. So that would be the pose or the gesture you'd make with your hands, and hold that for, like I said, usually a minimum of 5 minutes while meditating. But flip the card over so you guys can get more info on that. So if you guys wanted to take a screenshot or pause it to read what it says there, I'll hold this up for a bit, and I'll move it up so we could see the rest as well. So as you could see, it says for benefits, calms and clears the mind, benefits the brain, strengthens the heart and pericardium, assists in the breaking of negative patterns and addictive behaviors. So, if that sounds like something you think you could benefit from, definitely give that a try. I'll also put the name of the mudra in the description for the video in case you guys wanted to look into it a bit more. And if you wanted to get a personal reading with me, I'll also put some information regarding how you could do that in the description as well. If you guys want to follow me on Instagram, we have a little bit more fun with tarot and astrology over there, so you could check that out. But aside from that, we'll wrap up here, guys, and I'll see you all next month. All right, bye.